Hades, but this time the hot-footed god Zagreus can't walk or dash during the entire escape. We've got 4 depths of hell to go through, and then facing the god of death himself. Can we do it? Let's find out. So my first challenge was, of course, how are we going to move? The gun and bow ended up being not that useful. Next was the sword, which did move us a little with the attack combo. The spear, the aspect of Achilles version, would be feasible with its special attack. And finally, the shield. The weapon that first gave me the idea for the challenge, as we are able to move with the shield charge. End up choosing the shield, and off we went. Well, first difficulty ended up being just trying to get the first boon. Kept charging too far past. Dashes are obviously going to be useless in this run, so ignoring those kind of boons. Handily, the casts do track slightly, so got some range options with that. To mention once, the doors were an absolute pain throughout this entire thing. You had to move right next to it to get the prompt, and just kept bouncing off too far or just not having the right angle to get through it. A couple of tricks we picked up on these first few rooms. Number 1, with the shield spin attack, if the enemy is close enough, we lock onto them, throw it. Does have to be quite close, but stops us having to turn around and risk walking. And number 2, the cast has a wider range than the shield for locking on, so what we can do is cast first and then send the shield out to catch the mobs as they approach. Range enemies were going to be an issue. Here they were just on one side, so we could block. We'll think they could be an issue later. When given a choice, always chose the darkness currency, as when collected we also get a small health boost, starting early on that prep for that final Hades fight. First mini boss, shield does a perfect counter, took a while dashing away and then returning with the teleporting, until I realised just turn around and he teleports right behind us, so simples. The mines thrown by the enemies were the first issue I came across. After charging on 2, we didn't have time to recharge the shield and move off. Had the same issues with the floor spikes as well. Also the issue of just me not paying attention. Gave a maybe sentient boulder some booze, because of course we did. Then beat up Sisyphus whilst trying to speak them. For the first boss, we had Megara. I remember someone saying a full name. We fought Meg, who could tank attacks from the front, but had trouble with the flurries and the floor traps. Had to do some quick charges as well to avoid the ground explosions, but overall was an okay fight. First boss down, 3 to go. Asphodel. Was concerned about this one, and for good reason. Lost half my health just trying to get onto the boat to go to the first room of the floor. Also, the enemies were getting wise for blocking, now knocking me into the lava on top of just charging into it anyway. This was becoming an issue. Mood lights were turned on for the next room, which can only mean one thing. Got Best Boy Than helping us out. Yeah, don't know why I thought blocking would help there. Was a tight fight, and honestly did leave last couple Than, but just made it out. Did some shopping, honestly considered these two, but did have something else in mind. Quick dice roll, nice. Big upgrade on our cast, also now able to deflect range attacks. The barge was tricky, bombs which we couldn't move out the way in time, especially when dropped immediately after the mob's death, and I will forever hate these crystal mobs, whether it be a normal playthrough or a challenge, just hate guys. I accidentally bought the wrong thing before learning, or the Bone Hydra. With the wayward movement, was bound to happen in fairness. Now which version was we going to get? The mob spawning one. I think we got one of the nice ones. I didn't really have any issues with him. Clear through, and thankfully out of Asphodel, leaving the lava pits behind, thank god. But now onto Elysium. 2 bosses down, 2 to go. First couple of rooms went fine, except for putting myself in the way of a giant spear twice. You'd think it'd be hard to miss. Had some fun with the exploding tiny chariots, grabbed their attention with a cast, and then set a little spinning trap for them. I should mention, did have a couple of chances for Olympian calls like this one, but personal ruling just chose not to use them. No, they're not technically walking or dashing, but just chose not to use them. I'd never used the Zeus shield prior to this run, and I just didn't realise how much it absolutely shreds stationary enemies. That poor chariot. Rinsed through a couple more rooms, did get smacked about a bit by the chariots though, must have been revenge from the prior room, and then finally got a call that we could actually use. Ready for the third boss, Theseus and the Minotaur. We seemed to start well, blocking, special attack putting in the work. When Theseus started his second phase, got caught in a flurry and got demolished. I was trying to move, I swear, but the game was just not having it, and so first death. After reviving, switched on my brand new call for some brief invulnerability and got Theseus down quickly, not having any more of that. The Minotaur got some hits in after for revenge, but swiftly finished him also. And finally, the Temple of Styx, and that Hades showdown rapidly approaching. Starting out, these small rooms were a treat for our spin attack. Rats, satyrs, bigger rats, all got mowed down when trapped here. A small issue was getting poisoned, but it ended up working out being quicker to finish the room rather than bashing into the antidote spring again and again, trying to get them to get the cure. A few treks through, a satyr set collected, and we're on to our last shot. One last boon where we had to choose between defense and attack. So of course, we chose attack. Let the doggo, and we were ready for Hades. Also, walking here is automatic. I can't control it. If it was me, we'd be charging in on a shield right now. Now Hades could do some damage, and in this one found it way too easy to get stuck on a platform, panic, and take some major damage from him. As well as was difficult getting to all the mobs he spawns, especially the range ones who was trying to get rid of, but caught by Hades, and it was our first life down. We revived and seeked vengeance, returning the favour, and into second phase we went. We traded blows. I got smacked by an energy wave straight from Dragon Ball, retaliated with a shield spin, which, special shout out, has been putting in the work during this entire run. Problem was, he had a spin of his own, but mine was superior. We waited until the right moment. He was fixed in one position, sent the shield out, and the god of death met his maker. And done! More so an inconvenient challenge than difficult. May add some packs of punishment or other restrictions next time, but I think overall Zagreus sums it up best.
Not bad at all, really.